When it comes to living the life that you want, you don't have to be part of the 1% or even upper middle class for that matter. Plenty of everyday middle class people are able to do much of what they want, in reason of course, and this is how they're making it happen. If you and your partner are a dual income, no kids household, you might have an incredible financial advantage that other couples don't, yet some of you aren't fully capitalizing on it. One of the biggest mistakes that some couples make is that after moving in together and combining their money, they will drastically increase their lifestyle to match their new higher household income. So instead of maintaining their pre-relationship expenses, they move into a bigger home, buy more expensive cars, and adopt a lifestyle that requires both full-time incomes just to sustain. But the problem with this approach, and something that many couples don't realize, is that when you do it this way, you really rob yourself of the financial flexibility that comes with having two incomes and no dependents. But a much smarter approach is to continue living at the same income level as before, but with shared expenses. So rather than upgrading to a bigger place or taking on higher costs, consider moving into one person's home or choosing a reasonably priced option. That way, you can share the costs and bank more money rather than stretching your finances to match a higher lifestyle. I mean, really imagine being able to save half your income while still living comfortably. This could allow you to travel more, invest aggressively, and build a strong cushion before taking on additional responsibilities like starting a family. Because if children are in your future, you might realistically need a larger home down the road, and you'll certainly have more expenses. So why not build that buffer now while you don't have any dependents? And granted, this advice might be too late for some of you, but if it isn't, seriously consider if it's an option. Because the more disciplined you are when you have fewer obligations, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And while we're on the subject of family, when it is time to upgrade, don't get more space than you actually need. Housing is the single most biggest expense for many people, yet there are so many families that have more square footage than they actually need, to the point where they have rooms that they never even use. In 1970, the average home in the US was about 1,500 square feet, and today it's closer to 2,500, even though family sizes have actually decreased. And with that being said, one key to being middle class rich is realizing that just because you can afford a house on paper doesn't mean that it's a financially wise decision. Because if your mortgage payment eats up a significant portion of your income, prevents you from saving, or forces you to rely on credit cards for everyday expenses, you're not actually affording it, you're just managing the payments. And many people who constantly upgrade will claim that they need more space, but in reality, they might just need less stuff. So if you're stretching your budget for a larger home, ask yourself, am I paying for space that I don't truly use? And would a smaller, more affordable home free up cash for other priorities like saving, investing, or travel? And keep in mind that downsizing doesn't mean sacrificing comfort. It means living in a space that not only supports your actual needs, but also your long-term goals. Because when you put less money into unnecessary housing, that's more financial freedom that you can create for yourself. Realize too that a side hustle isn't just for people struggling financially. It can also be a smart move for anyone looking to have more options and experiences. Some people don't think about starting one until they need extra cash, but I am a firm believer that the best time to start a side hustle is before you need it. Because even if your job is stable and you have enough, having an additional income stream can give you increased stability. If you can generate an extra $100 per week after taxes, that's an extra $5,200 a year. And if you consistently invest that money with an average return of 8%, in 10 years, you can have over $75,000 due to the power of compounding. So whether your side hustle involves freelance work, reselling, content creation, or passive income streams like dividends or rental income, don't let lifestyle inflation absorb your extra earnings. Instead, let them work for you. Additionally, before taking on any major loan, especially for a car, take those payments on a test run. One mistake that some people make is buying a car without fully understanding how that payment will affect their budget, their ability to save, and their ability to do the things that they enjoy. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with financing a car if that's what you have to do. But there is a problem with financing a car that you really can't afford. Because again, just because a bank is willing to give you money does not mean that that is a wise financial decision. And if you don't want to be house poor or car poor, you have to be smart and you have to be realistic. So what you're going to do is choose the car that you want and then research the average out the door price. and then use an online auto loan calculator to estimate your monthly payment based on the interest rate, the terms, and your credit rating. And then before buying, you're going to transfer that amount into a savings account each month for at least 3 to 6 months to see how you do. And if you find that you're struggling to make those test payments, or if making those payments make it nearly impossible to save or do other things that are important to you, that is a sign that you cannot afford that car. In addition, don't forget about insurance costs. So another thing you can do is call your provider ahead of time to get a rate estimate so there are no surprises. And finally, one of the most underrated things you can do to be middle class rich is to be content. And if there are any Bible readers out there, then you probably know just how powerful the desire of the eye can be. It was true then and is still true today. Humans have an innate tendency to always want more, whether it's a bigger house, a nicer car, or better clothes. And it's because of this constant cycle of consumption that so many people struggle financially, even with decent incomes. And unfortunately, a lack of contentment often leads to unnecessary purchases, duplicates of things we don't use, and a mindset that always seeks the next exciting thing to buy. Yet, true financial freedom can come from learning how to be satisfied with what you have. And contentment doesn't mean being complacent or never striving for better. It means recognizing when you have enough and when you're good. And this is so important because when you stop chasing every new thing, you free yourself from financial stress and open up the ability to use your money more wisely. In the end, the most financially stable middle-class people aren't always the ones who buy the most or have the biggest homes. They're the ones who make smart, intentional choices with their money, and they prioritize saving so that they can enjoy more options.